Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave Daily Update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Tuesday, July the 23rd, 2024. I'm going to start with the S&P 500 today, and I will go back up to the hourly chart where I continue to look for the either B wave or wave 2. Right now, it is looking more as it's likely a B wave. So that would mark this would stay in place as wave A of minor wave 4. And so we're looking for the possibility that it may be complete at today's high at 56.2975, just shy of that 50% retracement level at 56.31. And so could be complete. We're going to now pay attention to how this all unfolds tomorrow. Factored in already, but not the continued downside that the market is seeing a little bit of within basically across the board, but that Google and Tesla reported, along with several others, of course, but those are the two Mag 7 that reported. They weren't horrible, but they weren't blowing the doors off. So initially we saw Google dip, then rise, and now starting to dip again. And so right now from the close, it's down about 350 or 250. And so we'll see what kind of happens by tomorrow morning. Tesla, on the other hand, was down. I gotta bring this over because I have so much on it. Tesla closed at 246, now trading 229 to 229.50 to 229.80. But it is now moving closer to being down 20, and that will definitively have a drag on both indexes, greater probably in the NASDAQ. And so we are getting ready to open in about 4 minutes, and we can already see that the NASDAQ is going to be down 12, at least on the opening, unless they improve that. And the S&P, again, about 4.5. So we will keep an eye on all of that, because how the market ends up now, if they're coming down in a 1, 2, and then a 1, 2, then the next leg would be like, get out of the way. And we just start to come down in a third wave. If it stopped here and opens 97, should take it, it could work its way to that below that low, which was 55.93, 94. If it opens at 97, it's within 3 points, and maybe it will start to just kind of go quicker, or we don't know. We don't know how the Asian markets are going to interpret or how the European markets are going to trade. And so we may get that kick down a little bit later. But initially, on the 15-minute chart, let me just open this up so we can see. I could say 1, 2. Actually, 1, 2, it doesn't, it overlaps very slightly, but not really. It could just be 1, 2, 1, and then this is like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 1 of 3. So a couple of ways we can interpret what's going on here, but moreover, I am now considering the possibility that the B wave here. So how I would count that, I would look for an ABC, and that ABC basically goes up to here, and that would be the B wave. And then this is where it gets really kind of sticky. Like, what was all of this? And the only way I can really come out with it is kind of like an A, B, C, B, and then a C. And for instead of 5 waves up, but I could go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, and then it gets real sticky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, coming all the way over. So this gets very sticky in terms of how do I want to interpret it and how do I want to count it. Being that I am looking for this B wave correction, a counter trend rally while we finish that minor 4. If we come down and we start breaking below 55.84 and start breaking down here, then it's going to be more clear that that's going to have to be accepted as the completion point for the B wave. If not, then we have an A, B, and some form of something coming up, and then maybe this is an X. So we have a lot of opportunities to kind of come in and say, well, we can have A, B, C, X, A, who knows? Again, difficult placing right there. Now there's a couple other ways because of the people that are using WXYZ. You could kind of come in and this is kind of a Y, so this is kind of a Y. This could be W, this could be X. I'm not sure if that would be actually the Y, but it could be a WXY. And then what it all means put together, I'd have to stand back and really take a look. So basis the 15-minute chart, basis the hourly. Oh, that was a little bit too many. Basis the hourly. It kind of still presents its challenges, but that internal here is not as challenging as it is on the 15-minute. But we do see all the flipping back and forth. They really kind of gapped down a little bit. So I am more in tune. In fact, they both gapped down quite a bit. So gapping well below 55.97, well below here. So I'm likely going to be putting a B wave there. And so that would take these off, removing those. And now we would have something similar to this. We'd be looking for that C wave. Remember what I said, if it truly is in this C waves can be very, very vicious, very, very destroying, very get out of my way and just kind of knocking things in either direction. So in this case, it's a C wave down, and minimally, C should equal A, and that's 54.50. Now I'm going to quickly go out here, because remember, C wave, here's our ticket. And right now, we're just still needing to get below this previous fourth wave, but it's the minuet, not the minute. So again, and just trying to determine as to what all this might or may not be as it unfolds. So 54.50 would be major. That's major support there. But again, bringing it back down to the hourly, could it be 1, 2, 1, 2, and this is just a 3 of the 3 part of it. So we've already gone and they're already ready to buy it up $10 off of they just knocked it down and they're ready to jump back on board. It is very interesting how the market just kind of thinks that everything gaps are made to be filled. In any case, we got to watch it. So if I do put the B there, here is our lineup for wave C. And so this gets us into the top. That's actually what I wanted to show. We need to see where we start getting into that previous fourth. And 1.618 would put us there. 236 on the whole minor would put us inside. 2.618 would definitely put us in the middle. And a C wave could go 2.618 for sure can go. We still have other Mag 7s that need to report. And so we still got to wait a week. Like August 1st is Apple. I'll get them right. And AMD comes on the 30th, which is next week. Amazon is, I believe, on the 1st. So Amazon and Apple report on the same day. So we could see fireworks at any time within wave C. So again, I'm just going to be careful of how I count it. I'm not really declaring anything. I want to see how this all trades overnight and then how we start and trade tomorrow within it. If it stops and it starts to go up, then there's a possibility that it is an ABC kind of going up and it's going to be A of B. And this is working itself into a B of B. And then we get another C wave that goes up, and then we're back to getting up closer to 618, or maybe even a little bit higher within this B wave. Moving averages, they should start, again, we just opened and we just in the gap. We should begin to react, moving average wise. Right now, this has gone totally flat. The 50's gone flat with a slight angle. And what we do have is the 13 and the 20 both angling down. When they start to cross that 50 on the hourly chart, then it's going to produce a little bit more negative thrusting to get, to be pushed lower. So again, this is all up in the air. If it were to reverse and just to really come up, if it breaks the 50, then it's going to put it back in a decent position. The daily, basically starting, ended a little bit negative. We think we might get a little bit positive, and it sort of tried, but did not really do all that well. And now we're gapping a little bit here. So again, negative on top of negative, but it's got to keep going. So first support, just on the fibs that I put in place, 55.19, then 54.50. And let's not forget that 5,500 in the cash market is likely, unless they moved it today, is the put wall. So there should be support. There should be support at 55. I think it's going to be 55.40 or 55.50 in the futures market. There should be support, because if we equate where the call and the put walls are, let me just think where this thing closed. We're down 22, so we closed at 55.90 or 56, and the SPX. God, I hate this thing. Can't get it out to where I want to see it. The SPX closed at 55.50, almost 56. 5,500 remains. The put wall remains major support, major longer-term support. If it breaks, it could be a very quick trip back to 5,000. Now that would fill in any gap that we have in our heads about how does it get here? A quick trip to 4,000, excuse me, puts it right there, right? So that low is 55.27, 28. And a real gaparoo down, if it breaks that 5,500, it could quickly just kind of slam dunk. And in the S&P in the futures market, I think it's 54.50, we could get a little bit of a slide. You can see we got almost over 100 points just down to the next level, and then down and ultimately down to there. It would be 300 points down. And how fast could it do it? Stack them up, boys. Stack up with the bad earnings, iffy earnings. And let's see kind of what happens. That's why we started to see, along with the fact that their earnings were not bad. They beat the estimates, but not by 30 million or 50 million or whatever, or even $1 billion, whatever the situation was. They just beat it a little bit on both. I did not listen to either one of the conference calls to know what, if any, forward guidance, other than Tesla did talk about 2024 car sales being lower than 2023. And I think that is what kind of is tossing that one, making Tesla toss its cookies, so to speak. So here we are. And nothing really outside of that to add. Numbers for tomorrow. Sorry that I kind of screwed up my days and I was looking too far. Today was existing home sales only. Tomorrow we have advanced U.S. trade goods, trade balance, retail inventories, wholesale inventories, and the S&P Flash Services PMI and Manufacturing PMI. So 8:30 a.m. for advanced U.S. trade balance and goods, advanced retail inventories, and advanced wholesale inventories. 9:45 S&P Flash Services and Manufacturing. 10 a.m. new home sales. Existing home sales came in less than what last And that's kind of interesting because June is usually the month where a lot gets sold because kids are out of school and families can move. So let's see what new home sales look like. There's supposed to be a decent uptick in new home sales. We shall see. In any case, let's move over to the NASDAQ and let's see what the NASDAQ is trying to do here or not do. All right, so here again, on the hourly chart, we have a nice little gap. So again, this one even a little bit more clear. You can kind of see how likely that 4 is in. It came up to the 382, hit it on the head. Well, almost. Missed it by, let me just see how it this was. This high was 20,084.75. The marker was at 20,000. Come on, right there, please. 20,093. So it missed it by less than $10. And then the NASDAQ, that's like a couple of ticks and you're there. So pretty much hit it on the nose and came down and now it's gapping. So I'm also more likely to put a 4 up here. That being the case, I need to reset those. So let me remove that one and this one. And what we want to remove that drawing and what we want in this one. Wow. Let me get rid of all those because I unless they just absolutely turn this around and just roar it right back for some reason, then we would be looking at the 618, which we're looking up here. 20,150-ish would be our next level. And that fourth wave would come into view. And that's 161. No, is it? No. It is 162. But if I put that and we're now coming down in a fifth wave, then we go like this. Oh, yeah, let me do it right. There to there, and that comes over to here. Equality, 19,436. That's if this high, we get the wave 4 to be put right there. Then we got 19,436. That's equality. 1.618, 19,035. And that is really what I'm looking at. I think we could begin to slide again, even in that fifth wave. It could really kind of be a humdinger. Again, we're not threatened by the third wave being the shortest. That's already been held by wave 1. So wave 5 has all the room it needs to get itself all the way down there, which would be longer. It would be greater than wave 3. We shall see. Equality is the first one we're going to be looking for. 618, I leave it there just because it continues to be a support level, but I do not think that it's going to contain this move since we're getting, we're about 160 points away from it. Okay, so leaving that in place, let's go take a look on our 4-hour chart. Like this one, it's still in play, 19,600, but that's just support on this whole move here. So I know the algorithms are still going to be using it, so I am going to leave it there. I really do not suspect that the market's going to be held here and produce a big turn. I think it could be found as support, but only to really go through it eventually. It might take a rest there. It might do a little bounce there, but nothing as strong that would change the count. I think it's just a point in time and in space, really, where the market could find a resting point. Our first one is 19,436. Then we break and we get the next one, this 50%, again, a resting, not a stopping, or stopping the move, just a resting point. The next, if we don't stop at 19,436, this is just another resting point. The next level would be 1.618 at 19,035. And that puts us right at the top end of this. And that would just be wave 5 and then A. Then we get a B wave. So this is where it's going to get a little cagey between the NASDAQ and the S&P. If I'm counting the NASDAQ, the S&P correctly, and I think we've done wave A, and now we're finishing up a wave B, because the alternate there would be that the first 5 down was wave 1, so I got to drop it a degree to a sub-minuet, and then put a minuet 1 at that low. And let me just bring back that picture to show you. I didn't mean to talk about it, and then I didn't. Where this would turn into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I drop it down to the sub, which would be gold. It'd be labeled the gold color and numerical. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this 1 would come down here, and that 2 would go over here, and we're starting into the third. That could be, but that means the S&P is going to get clobbered. It could, C wave and the third, they're equal. So, you know, we could get the old 1, 2 on this number in terms that it could, you know, I've often you make a comparison between a C wave and a third wave, that they both have the potential to do a lot of damage to bearish positions if it's going up, and to bullish positions if it's going down, or just to the price, just price. So, and being that, you know, things tend to go down faster than they go up most of the time, I think that we're going to get some follow through here, and we don't end up breaking below there. Which again, if it was a wave 1, that's what we would expect it. Even if it's a wave C, that's what we're expecting. But in terms of trying to keep the two indices in line more with each other, it's just the problem is that with the NASDAQ, we got that beautiful subdivision going on where it did not, which is why I'm more tempted to just drop it a degree. And again, I'm going to wait and see what we get tomorrow, and before I make my decision there. But at best, it's a B wave. Needing way more downside, it was minuet wave 1 of minor wave 4, excuse me. So, and that would just suggest a whole lot more damage in the S&P, a whole lot more. So that's why I'm not ready to make that call. Let's take a look at the moving averages, at least on the hourly chart here. We can see, yep, well, we got the least on the hourly chart. We got them crossing over the 50. Right now, we got the 20 and the 13, but more importantly, the 20 crossing over. And let's see. If we continue to decline, they will cross and maybe bring about some acceleration. That may not happen until Asia, and actually it may not happen until Europe opens. So that's on the hourly. Let me just zip out to the daily. Let's take a look at what that picture looks like. Remember, we were left with a positive. We got that little bit extra. We got that little push, went up to the resistance level, and then rejected. So that really does leave it as a 4. So, and then we're coming down in wave 5. And so I will go back and really take a look at the S&P to see if there isn't something I can be doing internally here to make that change and get it more on the same pattern rather than a completion point. In the meantime, I've said what we got going on for tomorrow. Earnings wise, I'm not sure of any of the bigger players have something coming out tomorrow. But we'll find out. So this is where I'm going to keep it. I'm going to leave it to be. And the next update will be on Wednesday, July the 24th.